For thousands of years, different cultures have connected queerness with magic. People who existed outside their culture's gender and sexuality norms were seen as keepers of sacred power. Today, we might identify these people as transgender, non-binary, gay, lesbian, or some other modern label, but they had their own words to define their identities. In Europe, Africa, Asia, and North and South America, many different cultures have connected magic and the other world to people living outside of gender and sexuality norms. In some cases, these people were explicitly identified as witches, sorcerers, or magicians, while in other cases they were honored as healers, spiritual leaders, or prophets. In their article, Men, Women, Gatekeepers, and Fairy Mounds, Randy P.L. Connor says that people who leave behind traditional gender roles become bridges to the other. For thousands of years, this idea has been at the core of queer spirituality. Examples of queer ancestors who acted as spiritual guardians of their cultures include ancient Mesopotamian seiðr, literally women men, transgender priests of the goddess Inanna, ancient Roman galli, castrated priests of the goddess Cybele, ancient Chinese shifu, scholars and officials who often had same-sex relationships, third gender spiritual leaders in Indigenous North American communities, like the Lahama of the Zuni Nation, Beatty people of the Crow Nation, and the Kiwido of the Tewa Nation. Some of these queer ancestors had identities we would now classify as transgender or non-binary, but not all of them. Many of them were associated with homosexuality or bisexuality in some way. Queer identity, or more accurately, social fears about queer people, have also informed folklore about witches and magic. The witch, as an archetype, did not appear out of nowhere. Stories, art, and folklore about witches combine threads of older mythology about other similar beings. Some of these stories go back to the very beginning of civilization. Many of these pre-witch stories are about women or feminine men who behave in ways that go against society's expectations based on their assigned gender. In many of these stories, the witchy figure is divine or supernatural. Some of these figures, such as the Slavic Baba Yaga, rejected feminine gender roles in ways that can be read as queer. Some scholars describe Baba Yaga's pestle as a phallic object, giving her both male and female aspects. She lives in a hut in the woods and is said to kill and eat the men who stumble upon her home, but she is sometimes willing to help a brave, beautiful young woman. While Baba Yaga is never explicitly described as queer in Slavic folklore, it is easy to see how she is connected to negative stereotypes about queer women. She acts masculine, she hates men, and she is a bad influence on the young women she helps. Queer men also play a role in shaping our ideas of witchcraft. In Iron Age Scandinavia, a Vikki was a man who practiced the feminine magic known as seiðr. Men who practiced seiðr were seen as taking on a feminine social role, making them less manly. Even so, it was not uncommon for men to practice this magical art. Heathen author and modern seiðr practitioner Kat Heath writes in her book Elves and Witches of Gods that, regardless of who was doing seiðr, there was always the implication of sexual deviance and promiscuity. The association between magic and sexual deviance were preserved in Norwegian legal history well into the 16th century. Even though seiðr was associated with sexual deviance, it was an important part of Norse mythology. Odin, the chief of the Norse gods, is a Vikki. When we talk about witchcraft, we're talking about magical practices from Europe, North Africa, and West Asia. But it's important to note that this connection between magic magic and gender nonconformity is also present in non-Western cultures. For example, in Yoruba mythology from West Africa, the Orishia Ocean is associated with both magic and sex, and at least one legend describes her using her seductive charms on women. This history is important for two reasons. First, it reminds us that queer people have always been here and have always been a part of the history of witchcraft. Second, it can be a source of inspiration for modern queer witches as we create our own practices. If you want to learn more about queer witchcraft, then please take a look at our book, Lavender Witchcraft by Samwise, who also provided the words for this video. Step into the magic of your own identity and embark on an affirming spiritual practice. For thousands of years, various cultures around the world have drawn connections between magic, spiritual power, and LGBTQ+ identity. This guidebook retraces these ancient connections and weaves them into a secular witchcraft practice, deeply rooted in modern queer history and culture. Hands-on practical exercises and thought-provoking discussions serve as guideposts to help queer witches and allies create a spiritual path that is authentic to them, no matter how they identify. Topics covered include elemental magic beyond binary gender, queer planetary magic, spiritual allies for all identities, sample holiday rituals, and more. Through this work, we cast a magical circle inclusive of all bodies and identities. It's available from Moonbooks Publishing. Thank you so much for watching. A special thank you to our members. You too can become a member and gain early access to videos just like this one. Hit the join button for more information. Subscribe for weekly videos, ring the bell for notifications, and we will see you next time.